These happen to Walmart, but
Then yes.
I don't know. Everybody keeps reusing it.
you can pay them like every 4 hours or something.
Really? Well, I figured tonight I'm gonna pump, like, I'm gonna go and do like two, three, 4 packs of those emergency.
They'll start somebody. And then apparently people get it running.
I mean, I literally has been clear around me for a month.
She claims she told her letter.
I've been clear, I've been clear. Today.
To be determined.
I don't feel bad.
The announcement needs to be soon because they have children. They can make May, instead of University of Alabama, there's a lot of precedent. I used to go to the security over there. Mr. Oden. Yeah.
That's one of I can
And he was
making it like way too much.
we're doing cross country. Yeah, I see. He's just like, she'll finish her master's, so she's 4.5 years. As if he's just figured out, but everybody knows he's a prosecutor. It's an all.
I'm on that one extra 10 minutes.
Charlie's trying to figure it out.
You and Tina.
No. Yeah, exactly. Brad, Sean, I'm down to Peter.
How was the, so I missed the first like 15 minutes of the guys.
No, stop it.
I thought from what I saw was really good. Yeah. So I enjoyed my show, but I wasn't, I set it up. And when he got there, I was like, sweet. So I read about it. When I saw him as a speaker, so I knew the story. I had hoped he would have a
You're not gonna be with us tonight?
I was surprised.
It'd be a book I would read. That was amazing.
How you call me, but I don't know how to actually go with it.
I remember even seeing those pictures. Like, it's been a long time. I mean, after watching
He was very stoned.
the Blue Angels, oh yeah, it was the Blue Angels. I'm just shocked.
Happy to be here.
Hi, hey, Mr. Sanders. Wow, he comes right out of the box, just throwing jabs. Kelly, you were raised in the market. Golly. I want you to, can I record you, please? Oh, you want to speak now? She said, you must speak now.
Well, apparently we had to get all day and learn about how you take the first play pickleball. That's what she said.
You gonna separate it?
Charlie called.
I got it. We're gonna have to get Russ up there. I got it. Here it goes. This is your city, so you're talking about.
Mayor of Prattville.
It's a dry. Mom. That's what we should call you, Mom. Every day.
Yes, she does.
What's bad is when Daniel and I cannot interpret what he's saying. And we're like, okay, pause. You gotta communicate.
Normally one of us can figure out.
Yeah, normally one of us can figure out which way he's going, but then when we both are out, it's really bad. So many people in the
There's these two.
You on this side. But can I get your autograph too while you're here?
Hey, Keisha.
Evening, everybody.
What do you mean you treated bad? Okay, well, I don't, when they have to get with HR, 'cause, they may have to kick it back to us, I don't know how to get it back. Yeah, so if you got something you wanna chat about, we'll chat about. It ain't that bad.
Get on my neck. Yeah, when you go wild.
Okay, well, if you wanna chat about something, we can do that. I won't be there in the morning, but we can do that. More afternoon. Okay, sounds good. All right, bye-bye. That's what we're talking about. 4 days later.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the business meeting for the City of Prattville. We have no public hearings tonight, so we will move straight into our council agenda. At this time, we invite you to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation, which will be given tonight by Councilor Merrick.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this, giving us this day for us to be here to do your work. Look over our newly elected president, vice president, his cabinet. Pray over the countries that are suffering around the world, the ones that are at war. Special prayers to our military, for our first responders in our community, and our veterans that continue to protect us and give us this wonderful, wonderful country that we live in, and to be able to do your work. And that we as citizens never forget that you've served before, and just let's keep doing what's best for us. And this we say, amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Sanders. Here. Counselor Jackson. Here. Counselor Chambers.
Here.
Having a quorum present, I do call this meeting to order. The character trait of the month is wisdom, which is seeing and responding to life situations from a perspective that transcends current circumstances. At this time, we will hold approval of our minutes for the public hearing and the City Council meeting held January the 7th, 2025. At this time, the Chair will entertain a motion to approve these minutes. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And our minutes are approved. At this time, we will welcome any comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda items only. If you wish to speak on anything that we will be voting on tonight, we would ask that you would line up against the right-hand side between the two walls. Over here, we have a podium where you can sign up, and you will be called forward to print your name and address and have 3 minutes to address the council. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the council on any items on our agenda this evening? Hearing none. Mr. Mayor, do you have a report?
Yes, ma'am. It's good to see everyone again. I'm glad everybody's made their way in here to our temporary new location, at least for a few months now. But hopefully we'll get our remodeling project started, up and going. And the weather did slow down that progress on the remodeling as well. I think we all know it is a little warmer outside compared to last week. I want to thank all of our city crews that work in the extreme cold during this period of time. They were Johnny on the spot, able to cover all the calls they were presented to them and handle them very professionally. So I do appreciate our city staff. Also appreciate our Taga EMA for coordinating the weather seminars to make sure our local leaders and public safety were informed of the inclement weather. Thankfully, Mother Nature mostly spared our community from serious weather conditions, but I have talked with some others further south than we are that actually had pipes to burst and a very rare occasion for Mother Nature to go that far south and be that cold. But councilors, I wanted to let each you know that the RAISE grant that we have applied for and talked about in the past, the name is changing. It's changing to the BUILD grant, which stands for Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development. Our resolution will reflect this change, but I wanted to make sure everyone knew that this is the same grant. RAISE is being changed to BUILD. Councilors, a little update on our Fairview Avenue project. SDAC should be working on Saturdays, every Saturday, weather permitting, until completion. We'll keep everybody informed. That project, it's been a long time coming. It's taken a while, and hopefully they'll be able to catch up. They are behind schedule right now, is my understanding. Also, our city engineer received an update from the project manager on our Highway 82 project. I say ours, it's actually a state project, but I know it's been one of our traffic projects that's been discussed in this community for decades, and it's getting real close. But traffic is going to be opened to the new side, which is actually the south lane, but the new side within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We've been informed the governor's office has started pushing for this. It could be March or April before the side that traffic is currently using gets the final asphalt layer. So March, April, or May. My birthday is May the 7th, so who knows, I might have a birthday present then. But they're using asphalt with a polymer in it that requires temperatures to be 60 degrees or above to lay. Also, I want to remind everybody that Mardi Gras celebration kicks off Saturday at 11 o'clock with food, arts, and crafts and vendors. Then the parade will roll out at 2 p.m. Hope everyone will join us for this celebration. Madam President, end of my report.
Thank you for your report, Mr. Mayor. Do any councilors have any questions or comments for the mayor?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we will move into reports from the council on special committees. Councilor Sanders, do you have a report? Councilor Jackson?
Yes. The Street Drainage and Lights Committee met on January 23rd. We discussed fiscal year 2025 local paving list, ALDOT MPO paving projects, the fiscal year 2025 ALDOT Rebuild Alabama Act annual grant project application for Northington Road, Indian Hills Road striping, procedures for accepting existing private roads and driveways for public maintenance. And we had project updates, and we also discussed Gardner Road, Bent Tree, and the Dorsey project and the VFW project as well.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Councilor Chambers?
No, ma'am.
Councilor Merrick?
No, ma'am.
Councilor Stritchick? And I have none. So at this time, we will welcome a report on the city finances. I believe Ms. Carly is bringing to us this evening.
Mayor and councilors, you have a printed copy of the December 2024 financial reports if you want to follow along. The first page is the December 2024 unaudited general fund revenue by group. The general fund revenue we have received fiscal year to date is $11,320,887. This represents a 4.41% increase over the same period in the prior year. Page 2 is the tax breakdown comparison. On the tax side, we were up 0.27% when compared to the previous December. The next 3 pages show the general fund expenses broken down by department. With 25% of the fiscal year complete, we have spent 20.61% of our budgeted expenditures in the general fund. The wastewater fund generated a net income from operations of $196,981 for December. Operating expenses are under budget at 23%, with overall expenses coming in at 21.41%. The sanitation fund reported a net loss of $7,233 for this month. Operating expenses are right in line with budget at 24.90%, with overall expenses coming in slightly below budget at 23.79%. The Judicial Special Revenue Fund generated a net income of $22,476 for December. Expenses are below budget at 10.67%. The next 4 pages are presented quarterly. The Gas Tax Special Revenue Fund has collected $96,347 fiscal year to date. This is slightly above budget at 17.49%. There were no gas tax expenses this quarter. The Capital Projects Fund has spent $11,012,271 fiscal year to date. This represents 27.61% of its budgeted expenditures. Current projects include Council Chamber renovations, Stanley Jensen Stadium improvements, Newton Park renovations, bank building renovations, public safety training facility, Court Street, downtown, and East Main Street sidewalks. The Group Health Fund has generated a net income of $316,855 fiscal year to date. We have collected approximately 17.5% of our budgeted parks and recreation income as of the year end of December. This totals $158,995 for the quarter. The total of all bank balances citywide at the end of December was $41,577,102.63. The last page is the total of outstanding accounts payable and debt balances citywide at the end of December, which was $564,427, while the city's non-enterprise fund debt was $22,764,177. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sims, for your report. Do any counselors have any questions or comments for Carly? Thank you so much. Tonight, we have the opportunity to create a consent agenda. Items that could fall on our consent agenda tonight include Resolution Number 1, which is to declare the garbage and rubbish at 124 Warwick Drive a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 2, to declare the garbage and rubbish at 125 Warwick Drive a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 3 is to declare the garbage and rubbish at 636 Lower Kingston Road a public nuisance and authorize the mayor to abate and charge any incurred expenses pursuant to Chapter 46, City of Prattville Code of Ordinances. Resolution Number 4 is to surplus personal property from the City of Prattville. Resolution Number 5 is to rescind Resolution Book 2024-B, page 290, authorizing city staff to submit an application to the United States Department of Transportation, USDOT, for Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, the RAISE grant funding for the widening of McQueen Smith Road from Cobbs Ford Road to US 31. Resolution Number 6 is to appoint Sheila Savage to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and Resolution Number 7 is to appoint Julie Stephanie Irvine to the Historic Preservation Commission. Do I hear a motion to create such a consent agenda? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of creating this consent agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the consent agenda is now before us. Do I hear a motion to adopt this consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on adopting a consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And the consent agenda is adopted. At this time, we will move into our regular agenda. Resolution Number 1 is to amend the fiscal year 2025 budget and to authorize the mayor to enter into a construction agreement for a Transportation Alternative Program project, or a TAP, with the state of Alabama, acting by and through the Alabama Department of Transportation, ALDOT, for project number TAPMN TA 25933, CPMS reference number 100079724, for sidewalk extension on Service Road 14 Selma Highway from Maple Street to Washington Ferry Road at a total cost not to exceed $607,919, with a net cost to the city not to exceed $121,583.80. Councilor Jackson, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Whereas on June 18, 2024, the City Council of the City of Prattville adopted Resolution Book 2024A, page 154, authorizing Krebs Engineering Incorporated to submit an application to Montgomery Metropolitan Planning Organization for the fiscal year 2025 Transportation Alternative Program for Selma Highway pedestrian access improvements, and whereas the state and the city desire to enter into a construction agreement for a TAP project for said sidewalk extension improvements for project number TAPMN TA 25933, CPMS reference number 100079724, at a total cost not to exceed $607,919, net cost to the city not to exceed $121,583.80. And whereas this is a partially budgeted expense in the Capital Projects Fund, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the fiscal year 2025 budget is hereby amended as follows. Increase Capital Projects Fund, Selma Highway sidewalks, $117,919. Increase Capital Projects Fund grant income, $94,335. Decrease development reserves, $23,584. Be it further resolved that the City Council hereby authorizes the mayor to enter into a construction agreement with the state of Alabama, acting by and through ALDOT, relating to said TAP project. Be it further resolved that said agreement be executed in the name of the city by the mayor for and on its behalf, and that it be attested by the city clerk, and the official seal of the city be affixed thereto. Be it further resolved that funds in an amount not to exceed $607,919, net cost to the city not to exceed $121,583.80, are hereby authorized and approved to be paid for said project, and said funds are hereby approved and appropriated from the fiscal year 2025 budget line item Capital Projects Fund, Selma Highway Sidewalks. Be it further resolved that upon completion of the execution of said agreement by all parties, that a copy of such agreement be kept on file by the city clerk. So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 1? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 1, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 1 is adopted. Resolution number 2 is to award bid number 024018 to See the Night, LLC, for aiming illumination laser devices for the police department at a cost not to exceed $48,300. Counselor Chambers, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas the police department desires to purchase updated aiming illumination laser devices, and whereas specifications were drafted for said laser devices, and whereas one sealed bid was received, opened, and read in public on January 6th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall, and the See the Night LLC was the lowest responsible bidder at a cost not to exceed $48,300 for said laser devices. And whereas state drug proceeds will be utilized for the purchase. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby awards bid number 024-018 to See the Night LLC in an amount not to exceed $48,300 for said laser devices, and said funds are approved from the state drug proceeds account. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion regarding resolution number 2? All in favor of resolution number 2, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 2 is adopted. Resolution number 3 is to amend the budget to authorize an additional personnel position for the fiscal 2025 budget in the Finance Department. Counselor Strichek, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Yes, whereas the Finance Department has identified the need for an additional revenue clerk position due to recent increases in the workload for the department. Now, therefore, be resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the fiscal 2025 budget is hereby amended as follows. Increased general fund revenue simplified seller's use tax, $38,798.28. Increased finance salary and wages, $26,404.53. Increased financial FICA, $22,019.95. Increased finance RSA, $3,142.14. Increased finance group health, $7,192.30. Increased finance group life, $39.36. Be it further resolved that the City Council hereby authorizes the hiring of said additional person, and funds are to be paid from the appropriate fiscal 2025 budget line, items, salaries and wages, FICA, retirement, group health, and group life for the Finance Department. Be it further resolved that the Human Resource Department is authorized to implement the hiring process. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have lots of seconds. Is there any discussion on resolution number 3? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 3, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 3 is adopted. Resolution number 4 is to authorize the mayor to enter into an election agreement between the City of Prattville, the Elmore County Commission, the Elmore County Board of Registrars, and the Elmore County Probate Judge at a cost not to exceed $4,000 per election. Counselor Merrick, will you introduce this resolution for us?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas Alabama Ethics Commission Advisory Opinion Number 2018-3 provides the counties and municipalities may enter into a contract through which the municipality reimburses the county for the use of the county's election equipment and county employees who possess the requisite skill and knowledge to operate the equipment. And whereas the City of Prattville, the Elmore County Commission, the Elmore County Board of Registrars, and the Elmore County Probate Judge desire to enter into an election agreement based on the requirements of said ethics opinion. And whereas Section 11-46-4 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended requires that said agreement be completed at least 180 days prior to any municipal election, and whereas the cost to reimburse the county for said services is not expected to exceed $4,000 per election, and whereas said expenses are a budgeted expense of the city clerk's department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville hereby authorizes the mayor to enter into said election agreement between the City of Prattville, the Elmore County Commission, the Elmore County Board of Registrars, and the Elmore County Probate Judge. Be it further resolved that funds in an amount not to exceed $4,000 per election are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to the Elmore County Commission to reimburse the county for said services, and said funds are approved and appropriated from fiscal year 2025 budget line item city clerk / election supplies. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intention of this resolution. So moved, Madam President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 4? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 4, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 4 is adopted. Resolution number 5 is to authorize city staff to submit an application to the United States Department of Transportation, USDOT, for the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development, BUILD, grant funding for the widening of McQueen Smith Road from Cobbs Ford Road to US 31. Councilor Jackson, will you introduce this resolution for us, please?
Whereas the City of Prattville has identified a need for improvements to McQueen Smith Road from Cobbs Ford to US 31 South Memorial Drive, and whereas the city is eligible to apply for funding assistance made available under the BUILD grant program through the U.S. DOT with a maximum award of $25 million, and whereas the BUILD grant program can provide grant funding up to 80% of eligible project costs from USDOT, with the remaining balance of not less than 20% of eligible project costs required to be paid by the City of Prattville. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that city staff is hereby authorized to submit the fiscal year 2025 BUILD grant application to the U.S. DOT for funding assistance to increase safety, provide accommodations for safe pedestrian and non-motorized access, improve quality of life, relieve traffic congestion, and reduce travel time on McQueen Smith Road. Be it further resolved that the City of Prattville commits to matching funds for said project should the grant be awarded by the U.S. DOT and implemented. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on resolution number 5? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution number 5, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by a like sign. And resolution number 5 is adopted. This concludes our items on our agenda tonight. At this time, the council will welcome comments from person present on any item. We'll have anyone who wishes to speak tonight, please line up against this right-hand side between the two walls, and you will be called up to print your name and address and have 3 minutes to address the council. Please state your name and address first, and then you'll be able to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak tonight? Hearing none. We will go into our closing comments. Mr. Mayor.
No, ma'am.
Counselor Sanders.
No, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson.
No.
Counselor Chambers.
No, ma'am.
Counselor Merrick.
No, ma'am.
Counselor Strichick.
No, ma'am.
Our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be held Tuesday, February the 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. At this time, the council has a need to go into executive session to discuss a matter relating to the purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or market value of real property. We have a letter from the city attorney advising this is a qualifying reason for executive session. The council expects to be in session for around 30 minutes. No vote will be taken, no business conducted after we return. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you call a roll call vote for us, please?
Counselor Sanders? Counselor Jackson? Counselor Chambers? Counselor Merrick? Counselor Stritchett? Counselor Boone?
The vote passes. We will move into executive session. The time is now 6:26, and we expect to be in session for 30 minutes or under.
What can you tell me about the library? Has there been any work? Yes, no, maybe? Did you vote up or down?
Just see who really wants to stay here, stick around. Y'all too, got two. Wife doing all right?
Good, fine.
Good, good. By the way, you should see some, I think some road improvements down your street soon. Just an FYI. Sycamore.
Yes, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
We are now reconvening, and the time is now 6:52. Our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be Tuesday, February the 4th at 2025 at 6 p.m. right here in our temporary chambers. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nays. We are adjourned.
I guess I need to sign the bill grant.
You take care of Wade. Good luck in going for. All right, I'm out. Bye, y'all. Takes care.